All right. So again, right, we have the power of three. All right. The power of three. This is what I call my method. Right. It's simply just following the trend, right? Following the trend. You have three areas of value. These are the areas you're taking your trades from. All right. These are the only areas you're taking your trades from. All right. You have an uptrend, you have a downtrend, then you also have a sideways moving market that I have not identified on here because you do not want to trade a market that is moving sideways, right? Then you have your double bottoms, your triple bottoms, your inverted head and shoulders. These are the market patterns that start an uptrend, right? These are the patterns that start an uptrend, or they can be continuation patterns to continue an uptrend. Okay? Then you have your downtrend. Okay? These, of course, you want to find levels to sell from and you want to find levels to buy from in an uptrend. All right? These three patterns, right? These are the patterns that start a downtrend. You have a double top, a triple top, and then you have your head and shoulders pattern, right? Just like these, right? They can start an uptrend, right? They can start a downtrend, right? Double top, triple top, inverted head and shoulders, or they can be continuations within an uptrend, okay? So now, again, going back to the uptrend, right? How are you able to identify that a trend is getting ready to change from a downtrend to an uptrend is that it's going to take out a lower high. All right, it's going to take out a lower high. So you have a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then you have your last lower high here where price falls, right? But it does not go back below that lower low, right? What then happens is price takes a reversal and it surpasses this lower high, which identifies that an uptrend is getting ready to commence, right? So now you have your new higher high. When price retests, right? When we get to price creating a new high and it's deciding to pull back, right? Or retest, it's looking to retest, right? It's looking to retest the deepest last fair value gap or the deepest last order block before it actually breaks structure. So, right, before it changed character, these are the levels that you want to take the trades from, right? So once it changed character and it created that new high and price fell back down within this fair value gap, I will explain what a fair value gap is later on in the session. I will explain what an order block looks like at the end within the session as well. So stick along. Price comes back. We want to see bullish candles closing above these areas of value to take the trades back above the highs that were previously created. All right. And then we want to have our SLs right beneath our areas of value. They don't have to be directly beneath. They can have a little bit of space so it allows your trade room to breathe, right? It allows your trade room to breathe. It allows you to go into drawdown, right? Because drawdown is not a bad thing, right? It's setting itself up to have a big move. Now, is a trade going to go into profit every
Hey,
single
hey,
time,
was für ein Kampf, Baby? Ich sag's dir.
right? Is the trade going to go into profit every single time? Absolutely not, right? It's not going to go into profit every single time immediately. Sometimes it may trickle down a little bit and then turns directions and then actually go to where it's supposed to, right? But the market is never wrong, right? The market is never wrong. The market is not against you. The market has to do what it's supposed to do, okay? So now we want to see bullish candles close above. We want to have our SLs beneath, and we want to aim towards the highs. Once price breaks this previous higher high, it's looking to create a new one, right? Once it creates its new one, again, it's looking to retest back to a deep area of value, right? Whether it's a fair value gap or an order block, right? It's looking to fall beneath this broken structure to find an area of value that it can come back to so that way it can change directions and go to where it's supposed to next, right? Now, sometimes you have where price will fall beneath a broken structure that it broke previously, right? But now, sometimes when price creates a new high and it decides to retest and shoot above a structure point, Sometimes when price creates that new high, what it'll do is it'll retest back to a structure level that price stopped at once before, right? And then now we want to see a bullish candlestick of some sort closing above this level so that way we can take the trades back above the highs and have our SL beneath this level. All right. Now, there is a such thing of actually, right, re-entering a trade, right? That is very much so a thing. All right. Re-entering a trade is a thing. But again, when you re-enter a trade, right? Let's say, for example, price ran past this structure level and it actually found an area of value right beneath it. Now, if price actually broke this structure and actually closed below this area of value and hit your SL, but you see that it came back to another area of value here, then that's when you will be able to take the trade again. If it does not set itself up just like it does at these particular levels, then of course you do not want to take the trade. Now, if it breaks the structure, if it breaks the order block, or if it breaks the fair value gap, you have to understand sometimes it was actually meant to do that, right? That's sometimes you just might have to just bite that L and accept it for the day, right? We all have losses in life. We all have had things that have not went our way, right? So getting mad um, for losing money isn't a bad thing necessarily, right? Because you lose money every day. You spend money on things that you don't need to use, right? Or that does not benefit your life truly, right? There's stuff that you spent money on that does not bring anything back to you, right? You spend money on clothes that you might not wear all the time. You spend money on unnecessary things that probably don't benefit your life or bring any value to your life, whether it's monetary, whether it's or anything that's not important or that does not hold any value. Why are you mad that you lost money in the market, right? You know where your money is. You know how you can get it back. But when you spend money on things that does not benefit your life, you do not know where that money is going to go. You do not have an opportunity to get that back. But you have an opportunity every single day, right? Every single day, every single week, and every single month of every single year to possibly make your money back. Is it a guarantee? No, nothing is guaranteed in this life that we live in, right? Nothing is guaranteed. Okay. And I want everybody to understand that for the people that's on the session with me now, for the people that are going to be watching this session, nothing is guaranteed, right? But putting ourselves in position, right, to succeed is totally on us, right? Finding the things that we've done wrong and making it right is how we get better, right? You lose a lot to win on purpose, right? I made a post on my Instagram today, right? You lose a lot to win on purpose. There's a benefit when it comes to losing. You get tired of it after a while. You start to figure out the things that you need to change about yourself in order to be successful at something that you are doing, whether that's trading, whether that's being a better brother, whether that's being a better sister, whether that's being a better husband, a better wife, a better girlfriend, a better cousin, whatever the case may be, or just being a better person in general. That's what the market is going to do. The market is going to pull out everything that you do wrong in your life, everything that holds you back is going to allow you to see that about yourself and give you the opportunity to change it to make it better, right? And that's all life is about. It's about learning, evolving, and becoming a better person every single day. All right? So, now you get your break of structure, price comes back to this structural level. Again, we have our SLs beneath our area of value. Once we see that price is respecting that level, then we're taking the trade back above the highs. Everybody understand that, right? If you understand that, what I want you to do is type a three in the chat, right? Type a three in the chat if that's making sense for you. Everything that I've just explained to you, everything that I just gave you, if that's making sense to you, type a three in the chat. All right, good. All right. So that was your uptrend, right? Now you have your downtrend. All right. Let's just say, for example, we adjust everything. Okay. Let me remove this. And then we're going to go over the downtrend. So now, instead of seeing bullish candles, right? Because we want to buy in an uptrend. We don't want to sell in an uptrend. That's ridiculous, right? That's asinine. That's complete insane. All right. We want to trade the trend. So if the trend is telling you to buy, you should buy. If the trend is telling you to sell, we should sell. Okay. Everybody understand that. Now, how we're able to identify what a downtrend, when a downtrend is actually going to get ready to start, right? It's going to transition from going from an uptrend to a downtrend. So it's going to create higher highs, higher lows, right? It's going to get to a point to where it gets here, right? This is the higher high. The moment that price breaks that higher high, that higher low, right? So we have higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? Then you get your higher high, and then eventually what happens to price? It has a hard time breaking back above this level of structure, right? What it did from this point is it actually took out a higher low. That's how you're able to identify that a trend is getting ready to change. Does that mean that you hop in a trade the moment that it breaks a higher high, a higher low? I mean, right? Absolutely not. What you want to wait for is price to create this lower low for then to pull back, finding a area of value that price can react from for you to take the trade in the other direction. Everybody got that, right? So the lower low is created. We want to find deep areas of value that are created right above our broken structures, above our change of characters, our broken structures. We want to find the deepest area of value that it can come to until it starts showing rejection and bearish pressure from these levels. All right. So we want to see a bearish candlestick pattern close below this point. Our SLs will go back above our areas of value. All right. Then we're taking the trades back below our lows. We're waiting for price to create a new lower low for then to take price, right? For price to then retest back to an area of value, right? To take the trade back below its low, right? It's then at that point a continuous, right? A continuous find of where you need to take the trade from. All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to explain to you which areas of values are more valuable than others. All right, because there you might find a multitude of areas of value, but finding the ones that matter the most is what's going to help you understand where you need to be taking these trades from. Of course, where your SL needs to be, and then where you're taking these profits from, right? Or you're taking the profits to. Okay, everybody understand that, right? So now at this particular level, before I get on, can anybody tell me what this level is? I'm not going to change the color of it. I just want you guys to tell me what this level is and the pattern that it actually created at this level. Right? I'm not going to change the color. I want y'all to tell me what this area of value is. All right. All right. It's a STR, a structure level. Now, what pattern did it actually create at this particular level? A double top. Now, what is a double top actually tell us? What is that indicating to us? It's indicating that price, right? Price wants to sell. So why wouldn't we follow directions, right? Growing up, there being kids, there's a lot of times where we don't follow directions, we don't listen to authority, we don't follow directions. That's how the market capitalizes off of us losing trades, not following directions, not being disciplined, not being able to be a listener instead of a doer all the time. Sometimes you just have to listen. Sometimes you have to take a step back and just see what's being brought to you right in front of you, right? You got I know you guys have heard of it's hidden in plain sight. The market is literally hitting in plain sight. But the how they capitalize off of us, how they capitalize the people behind the screen, the people behind the market, how they capitalize us is not being disciplined, right? Being greedy, not having structure, right? Not being able to listen, not being able to see what's right in front of us is how they capitalize and able to get you to lose a lot of trades than you really should be winning, right? I want to bring back the confidence in a lot of people, right? My confidence used to be shot. I used to have a shot confidence. I knew that I was great. I knew that I was a great trader. I knew I was probably one of the best traders in the world. I know that I'm one of the best traders in the world, right? Back then, I'm like, man, I know I'm this, I know I'm, but it was a certain thing. It was certain things that were holding me back. Certain things that were holding me back until I got the button and that light bulb clicked in my head. And I took a step back and I looked at the market and I seen what it was doing. And I caught on to the drift. But again, do I win every trade? No. Do I miss some things? There might be some times I miss something. Every trader isn't perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? But like I said, it's about putting yourself in a position to win more than you lose in a zero sum game. All right. Why is it a zero sum game? Right? Because people can't get over themselves. They can't get over themselves. They can't get over the things that's holding them back. They think that they don't need to work on anything, right? They think they don't need to work on nothing. So if you work on nothing, you're going to get nothing. If you don't like change, you're not going to get change. If you can't be consistent, you're not going to get consistent results, right? That's, you know, I don't just like teaching. I like verbally giving examples as well and giving you guys, right? Preaching as in a sense, right? I don't just like showing and all right, this is this, this is this. I like actually giving you guys the information that you need that I know that's going to help you be successful in this skill set because everybody has the ability to be successful in this. Everybody can do this skill set. There's not nobody on this planet that cannot do this unless they just have something that's holding them back that they just can't do this. And there's some people like that in the world. God help them. God be with them, right? Because this is a great opportunity to do something that a lot of people can't do. Everybody has the resources to do it, especially now in the time that we live in, where information is starting to be a little bit more open, right? This skill set used to not be open. Information used to not be given for free at all. You have to spend an arm and a leg. But because now the skill set is starting to open and be a worldwide thing, a lot of more information is getting out and a lot of more people are starting to become successful at this skill set, right? So you guys explain I went through the little speech, right? But I gave you guys this method, right? Now what we're gonna do now, right? And if you guys see the how organized I am, right? You got to find a way to be organized as well. Clutter involves disaster, right? Being Having structure, having organization, having a clean chart is what's going to get you to be successful as well. All right. So let's move on from this. All right. Let's move on from this. Let's look at GBP AUD. It's one of my favorite pairs. My favorite pairs is gold and silver, right? Silver and gold. Those are my two favorite pairs. But I have recently fell in love just last year with GA, right? I fell in love with GA. And the reason that I fell in love with GA is because it has pretty clean and swift moves, right? So, what I'm going to do now is go over the very thing that I just gave you guys, right? Looking at these at a chart in real time. Okay? So, here are two examples. Can anybody tell me the trends that you see here? What actually, yes, what trends do you see here? Do you see an uptrend? Do you see a sideways moving market? Do you see a downtrend? Or do you only see one type of trend, or do you what is it? What do you see, right? And again, you guys can unmute your mic and talk to me. I'm fine with that. Just as long as your background isn't loud. So, can anybody, or you can type it up if you feel comfortable doing that as well. What type of trends do you see here? All right, you see an uptrend to a downtrend. Okay. Anybody else? Kaden gave me his answer. All right. He sees an uptrend to a downtrend. Perfect. That's correct. An uptrend to a downtrend, right? So here you have your uptrend, right? And here you have your downtrend. You guys see that, right? So you have your uptrend, your downtrend. So now, what makes this an uptrend, right? Remember, a trend has to start from somewhere, right? If we look over here to the left, the market was moving in a downtrend, right? It created a double top. Double top, price broke the neckline, fell lower, right? And then what did price end up doing? This was the last lower high before price actually changed its direction. So here to here, what do you have? Price surpassing that level, giving you our what? Our breaker structure. Or you can name it a change of character, right? Because it starts the uptrend, right? It took out a lower high, right? Whether it wicked above, whether it closed above, it took out a lower high. So then what happened, right? Price fell down to its deepest area of value before price broke structure. Okay. So what's our uptrend order block looks like, right? What is our order block? Our order block for an uptrend is the last down candle before price actually breaks structure. So it's the deepest last down candle before price actually breaks structure. Okay? That's what we want to see. So you have two. You have one here, and then you also have one here. All right? And understand, doji candlesticks. So this candlestick right here is not a doji, but it's one of the last down candles before price broke structure, and that's actually the deepest. But then you also have a doji candlestick here that is an order block as well. Okay, I want you guys to understand that doji candlesticks are also order blocks as well. But again, you have an order block here and an order block here. When price broke structure here and it decided to retest, did it come right back to this last down candle before price broke structure? Yes or no? All right. So this is not. So is this order block not significant? Which order block is these are? Is this order block not significant? This is one of the last down candles before price broke structure. Is it the deepest one? No. But is it valuable? Is it more valuable than this one, as I should say? Right? It's not. And why isn't it more valuable? And the reason why I'm saying it's not more valuable, and the reason that I'm saying that, you do get a reaction off of this. You are able to take a trade from this order block, right? Because if we put a zone here, if we put our order block zone here, right, this entire selling candle, that gives us our order block. Does price not react off of this level? Do you not get a close above with a bullish candle and then price aiming back above these highs? You do, right? You place your SL beneath this level, you're aiming to the high, money's made, right? Pretty short move, not a pretty big move, right? But then what ends up happening to price? Price actually creates something that we call equal highs, right? Equal highs. I'm going to write this out right here. From this high to this high, right? We see how equivalent that is, right? They're very equal, right? So what this is showing us is when equal highs are being created, price is looking to actually take those out. Okay? So you got your breaker structure initially. You got price came right back to this particular order block and actually aimed towards these highs, right? And then what ended up happening in the price? It created equal highs so that price can fall down, right? Came back to a deeper area of value, right? Which was this order block. And how did price react off of that level? What market pattern did it actually create here? Anybody know? I know Caden probably knows, but I want somebody else to answer. What market pattern did it actually create at this area of value? If you got to unmute your mic to answer, then do that. If you want to type it, then do that as well. But I need somebody to answer what type of pattern this is, right? We went over it at the very beginning, right? Okay. Now, you saying you would have mistaken those equal highs as a double top and looked for sales, right? But I want you to remember this was a lower high, right? This was a lower high. Did price take out that lower high, right? It did, right? It took out those lower highs. What ended up happening to price? It retest, not once, but twice. So it gave you two significant opportunities to actually get into this trade, right? So it took out a lower high, created a new high, equal highs at that point, and then what did price do? It fell down to this last deepest order block. And why is this order block significant? It's because it's near a fair value gap, right? And it's actually a fair value gap right here. All right. What is a fair value gap, Gary? Well, you see how this candle has a wick and then this candle does not have has a very small wick at the bottom. But you see how there's a gap in price here, right? From this wick all the way to this candle's wick, you see how there's a gap in price, right? That gives us our fair value gap level. And that's why this order block is significant. Is because it's right beneath a fair value gap, right? But then not only that, you have a fair value gap here, right? We see how price does wick below and does give you a fake out, but it then turns back and actually closes above. So, right, it's the deepest last down candle before price breaks structure. So you might have multiple within a push that break structure, right? You might have multiple, but you want to find the ones that fall, right? They fall right beneath. Let's take a step back, right? They fall right beneath an order block that falls right beneath a fair value gap. Those are the ones that are extremely important, right? Not only did you get a close above this order block, but you also got a close above this fair value gap. Not only once, not twice, not three times, not four, not five, not six, not seven, but 8 times, right? It closed above this level 8 times before it actually went to take out those highs. All right. What then happens at that point, right? What then happens at that point is that one, you made your money. One, you can go about your day. This trade might take an entire week, which is okay, right? But you're in a trade for the long haul, right? You're in a trade for the long haul, which could possibly be a couple of hours. It could possibly be a couple of days, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because you're catching a true move, okay? You made your money, you go about your day, right? Price does what from this point? It goes and creates a double top, right? What then happens? Price takes out a higher low. It takes out a structural level here. All right. It creates a double top. It takes out a structural level at this particular point, right? What then happens to price? It creates the new low and it decides to retest. Now, the question is, where is price going to retest to? Right? That's the question. Where is price going to retest to? We know that this is our breaker structure. We understand that, right? We understand that this is the breaker structure. Boom, boom, right? Price takes out that high, that higher low, creates a new low, and then where does price retest to? Can anybody tell me? I know Caden may know, right? Caden may have it. Caden may have it. Do you have it, Caden? Where price do it? What did price retest to? I know Mike, you probably just got on, right? There you go, Mike. There we go. Right? Fair value gap. What does a fair value gap look like in a downtrend? Right? You see how this candle's wick and this candle's wick, they don't meet in between the body of this candle. That gives you your fair value gap, right? That gives you your fair value gap. Okay? Do you see how price reacts off of that fair value gap? How many times do we see how price closes beneath that level before it actually heads to the downside? Right? It respects, it respects, it respects, it respects, it respects, it respects. So if it's respecting a multitude of times, where do you think price is going to head then? To the downside. But not only that, you're getting bearish candles that's closing beneath your area of value, right? Even if we don't identify that level, right? There's a level on the backside of this move that will be displayed as structure in the neckline of the double top, right? That's your structural point within a move. Within this neckline lays structure, right? Is it an ideal level? Not necessarily, right? But it's a level that we definitely could pay attention to if you even didn't want to look at this fair value gap, right? But even if I do add that fair value gap into play, we see how both of these levels, right? Both of these levels are actually within each other, which shows a strong level, right, that price has to respect. So now, not only do you have a fair value gap, but you have a structure level that actually ties within your fair value gap. How are you able to identify which levels are more important than the next? Is the ones that are close to each other. If a fair value gap is close to an order block, that's a good thing. If a fair value gap is close to a structural level, that's a good thing. That's showing you more ways than one of you having a strong level to play off of. All right. Now, what does an order block look like in a downtrend? Right? Let's remove this for a second. Right? What does an order block look like in a downtrend? It's the last up candle before price actually breaks structure to the downside. Right? The last up candle, right? The last up candle, boom, boom, before price breaks structure. That's your order block. That's your bearish order block now. Okay. Now we see how price didn't come back to that level, and that's okay. It actually stopped here because this level was more magnetized than this particular level. Now, what's going to eventually happen to price is going to come and test this level, whether it's that same week, whether it's weeks from that point, whether it's months from that point, price is going to revisit this level once again, right? Just have to let you guys understand that, okay? So, boom. How do I know and where could I actually take my entry from? Let's take a step back, right? Let's look back at the fair value gap level that we actually found from the jump, right? We're taking our entry the moment that we see a bearish candle close beneath this area of value. All right, we take our trade, we enter after that candle closes. We have our SL where, excuse me, above our area of value, right? And then we're taking the trades back towards the low. And if you see this, this allows you to still have a great risk to reward ratio and still be able to make more money than you actually lose. Okay? So now, boom, we go on. What do we end up getting? You get your break of structure here, right? BOS. Initially, this was your change of character. So let's change this up, right? CHOC. That's your change of character. That's your break of structure. Price creates its new lower low. The question is, what does price retest to? Can anybody identify the level that it actually retests to? Let's see if you figure it out. I see it. I know where it is. Do you? Right? Right? Said fair value gap. Not quite. Not quite. There you go, Kaden. An order block. Right? Is this not the last up candle before price broke structure? Dunya, is this the last up candle before price break structure? If you see that, let me know. Okay, good. Right? So now the entire buy candle, you drag price over, right? We see how price has respected that level. Not once, not twice, but three times, right? So now all we need to see, right? All we need to see after it creates this new lower low and price decides to retest, you see how price actually closes beneath our area of value. It closes right beneath it. We can take our entry from this point. SLs will be above our area of value. And as you see, it always gives us a great risk to reward ratio. And that is the thing that's going to keep you in trading a very long time, right? Is being able to make more money than you lose and still be able, even if you lose a trade, not be above water, not trying to hold yourself above water. You'll still be in a good state, right? The higher the time frame, the higher the SL. The lower the time frame, the lower the SL, right? The higher the take profit, the higher the time frame, the higher the take profit. The lower the time frame, the lower the take profit, right? That's the trick. That's what you will get by doing this method on whether you're trading on a higher time frame or a lower time frame. Everything still applies. Everything that I've taught you to this point still applies. Nothing changes but the time frame. That's it. But you still have to follow, even if you're trading on the smaller time frames, you still have to identify the complete trend of the market, right? If a higher time frame is telling you the market is moving in this direction, then you need to make your decisions based off what your higher time frame is telling you, so that way you're able to capitalize even on the lower time frames. All right. Again, you get your break of structure at this point, right? Break of structure, BOS. Now, what ends up happening? Price creates this major lower low, right? When it decides to retest, the question is, where did it come to? Right? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. Where did it come to? Can anybody identify where price came to when it decided to retest? Right? What area did it come back to? Let's see if we can see it, right? Can anybody identify? Let's see. We can identify what level it came back to. Right? If you're thinking order block, you are correct. Right? Price came right back to, right? If you were thinking order block, you are correct. Good job, Mike. Right? So it's the last up candle before price actually broke structure here, right? What ends up happening in the price? It respects this order block. Yes, it does, end up wicking above this level a little bit, but that's okay. That's the whole purpose of you, right? Catching your entry after the candle closes beneath, having your SLs a little bit in space, right? And then look, do you always have to go? Do you always have to go always to the lower low? Absolutely not. You don't always have to go to the lower low. Sometimes you can simply go for a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. That gives you a 50-50 chance for price to actually hit your take profit. And that's truly all you need is a 1-to-1 at times. You don't need a 1-to-3. You don't need a 1-to-2 at times. Sometimes all it will take is you having the same SL as you do a take profit. So if your take profit or if your SL is 80 pips, your take profit needs to be 80 pips. If your SL is 50, sometimes your take profit just needs to be 50, right? It does not have to be the entire swing all the time, right? So now, what ends up happening in the price? It takes out an area of value. It actually breaks a lower high, right? Remember how I told you if a lower high gets taken out, what is that identifying? When are you deciding which low you take as a target? All right, so here, that's a really great answer, right? I mean, a great question, I should say, right? That's a really great question. How am I identifying and knowing which low I'm actually going for, right? So if you see a trend is just getting ready to start, if you see a trend is just starting, that's when you want to take it to the lower low, right? But if you see how it's consistently going from a lower high to a lower low, a lower high to a lower low, right? And it's already kind of like within its move, sometimes you just truly need to go for a 1-to-1, right? So if it gives you, let's just say for example, if it gives you more than two if it gives you more than two lower highs or two higher lows, right? That's after that point. If it's still consistently continuing an uptrend or a downtrend, then at that point you don't need to always go for the either the lower low if you're down going for a downtrend or a higher high if you're going for an uptrend. That's it. That's all it will take, right? All I need to see sometimes is two, maybe even three lower highs being created before I know all right, let me just go for a 1-to-1. If that helped, I hope that helped. Did that help, Dunya? Okay, great, great. So now, let's see. So now, what did I end up getting? Right, we had a higher high, lower, right, um, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right, lower high, and then what ends up happening to the lower high? The lower high gets taken out. This is when your change of character comes into play, right? Change of character, or you can just simply say break of structure. Either or is fine, right? It creates a new high at this particular point, right? But again, when price decides to create a new high and it decides to retest, it's looking to find the deepest order block it can find before it actually broke structure, right? So in this case, can anybody tell me the area of value price actually retest to? Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can figure it out, right? Let's see. Be quick. Let's be quick. Let's be quick. Let's type them up real quick. Order block structure. Okay. Excuse me. You were correct with the order block. And I'm gonna tell you why you were just correct with the order block, right? We're not gonna necessarily, right? I know where you're talking about when you see the structure, right? It's right here. I understand that. I get it, right? What where price actually stopped, right? Was this order block right here, right? Boom, boom. Because not only do we have this being an order block, there's also a gap in price, meaning that there's a fair value gap that actually lies within this level here. All right. This entire gap from the body to the body gives you a fair value gap level because of how price gapped. All right. That gives you your fair value gap level. Again, price reacts off of the order block, not only here, but also here, and it also reacts off of this fair value gap level. All right. Everybody seen how I did that, right? So if you ever get a point to where price actually gaps like this, then you want to actually label this as an actual fair value gap. All right. From body to body of that entire candle setup. All right. So cool. We got that down. What ends up happening to price? Price takes out a higher high, giving you the break of structure, right? Again, is price going to follow suit every time? No. Sometimes it may just do what it wants to, right? But as long as you're following the method, you see how it works, right? Everybody see how it works. If everything that I've just explained to you is making sense, type of PO3 in the chat. Type of PO3. If it's making sense, you got an understanding of what I just explained to you, right? Then you have an understanding how the market operates, and then you're good to go, right? So now we got the understanding. We see why we did that, right? The market is now closed for until 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, right? Everybody has a true understanding of why I actually does everybody understand why I actually took this trade right here for sale, right? When I called it in the chat, did everybody understand why I actually took this trade? Whether you didn't understand then, but you understand now, or whether you understand even when I called it why I actually took this trade. Right? You got your break of structure. You got two, right? That's double confirmation. You got two breaks of structure, right? A major lower low and then a retest to, there you go, Mike, a fair value gap level, right? A deep one at that, right? So now you get the strong rejection and then you get the candle that closes below. But what I wanted to see, right? Right? What I wanted to see, why didn't I take a trade from this particular level? I knew that there is a deeper fair value gap here. There is a deeper order block here, right? And they're near each other. They're right near each other. And I knew that, okay, price, not only did it break two higher lows, right? And it created a new low. I also understood that, yes, this was the last lower high, right? Lower high, lower high. But there's also liquidity that needs to be grabbed above these double tops in order for price to actually continue to transition. All right, everybody understand that, right? All right. If you understand that, type of three in the chat if you understand that. That makes sense. All right, cool. Now, we reacted off of the fair value gap. Gary, why you didn't enter up here? Well, I'm looking at the way that the market set up even before it did this. All right. So I needed a couple of more bearish candles to give me enough confidence to actually take this trade from this level. What confirmation do you use to know if if that use to know that it's not just reversing and going up, right? Here's my trick, guys, right? Here's my trick to actually to answer that question, Mike, right? Here's my trick to knowing that how did I know that price was going to end up falling down again before it even, before it did this and it didn't continue to go up? I understood what it did on the back end, right? And the back end was more significant than what this was doing. And not only that, but you guys see this how price doesn't show any structure over here, right? There's no structure over here. There's a bunch of space over here. There's a bunch of fair value gaps over here. And only one lower high got taken out. There's no lower highs in this move right here. Yeah, there's a little bit of structure, but there's no lower highs that got taken out but this one, right? Is that making sense? Right? And I'm paying attention and I'm understanding not only that, but like I said, I see and I'm able to identify that there's a bunch of liquidity, right? Liquidity is fair value gap. Some way, yeah, but a bunch of liquidity going down. Yes, there's a bunch of liquidity to the downside that needs to be filled, right? Liquidity needs to be filled. Liquidity is these fair value gaps, these order blocks that have not been touched, that need to get touched. And we see how there was no structure. Now, if there was structure, if the market did something like this, right? If it took out this structure level right here, right? If it did that and then pulled one of these numbers here, right? Let's say it did something like this and it was doing this. Then I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, price is going to continue going up then at that point, right? But because that there's no structure within this entire impulsive move to the upside, then I already know, okay, once price reach one of these areas of value on the backside of this trade, I have an understanding and a confidence that I know more times than not, price is going to fall to the downside, right? Because it got to clear this up and structure got to be made over here, right? Structure got to be filled on this backside. Our liquidity has to be filled on the backside. I'm sorry, right? Everybody understand that? If there's no structure being built within an impulsive move, just know at some point price is going to come back and fill all of that up, right? What set me up to have a good potential move at this point. Now, how was I able to catch this good of an entry, right? Even when I sent it to you guys, right? How was I able to catch that good of an entry? What I realized, what I understood is that, okay, I understood what it's doing on the 4 hour, right? I understood what it's doing on the 4 hour, right? What did I end up getting on the 1 hour? I got a strong bearish candle closing beneath, right? And then I started to get consistent lower highs right, within this move off of a fair value gap zone, which identifying that what's is happening, right? If we look at this 1 hour time frame, what trend is this right now? It's a clear cut downtrend, right? Whether I know y'all it might take a little time to type it, but everybody see this clear cut downtrend, right? High, lower high, lower high. What happens to price at this particular point, right? I understand that lower highs are being created. So when price showed me this strong bearish candle here, and then it showed me that yes, I do have a fair value gap here. You guys see that? You see this fair value gap right here? All I needed to see from that point on is actually price reject off of this level. And I got the rejection that I wanted, and we caught our entry directly off of a fair value gap zone, right? And then that's when we took the trade down to the downside for 100 pips. All right, everybody see that, right? If that made sense on why I actually took this trade, type of three. If you got a question, ask a question. But if you got the understanding of why I actually called this trade, then we're in the right direction. Okay. All right. So I understood, right? Off of the fair value gap on a higher time frame, I end up getting lower highs being created, lower lows being broken, right? Double top initially, right? We can consider this even being a double top, but we consider it also being a lower high, and then price taking out that level, giving you your breaker structure. Price creates its new low, price retest. What does it retest to? Back to an order block where we're taking a trade back below the low, right? Cool. Anybody have any questions? Any more questions? All right. No questions? Guys, that'll be the end of this session. I appreciate you guys for watching, right? I appreciate you guys for getting on. If you're on live with me right now, you can stay on, right? But this will be the end of the session, guys. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Gary Scott Official. All right. My YouTube is the Solid Pip Assassin. All right. You guys can follow me on those. And I will catch you guys on the next session. All right. It's your boy, Gary Scott, aka the Solid Pip Assassin. I'm out. Peace.